There we go. Yeah, that's had all kinds of issues with Streamlabs. That's why you see there's a little bit of a different display on here. I'm putting everything back to where it was, and I don't see you guys' chat showing up. Oh, there it is. Okay. There it is. Okay. Very, very good. All right. Got everything going. 2 days ago. Happy birthday, little late Raditz. And Destiny's in. Just stop in and say hi bye. Hi bye. You got a notification, Josh? All right. Well, let's see. We're just talking about that. Oh, there's 22 viewers in. It did just start up. She might have sent some out. Maybe they weren't lying about how we just can't upload very often. I guess. I was thinking maybe I can take and I wanted to stay with the doing some more Omegle again. Maybe I'll move that. Excuse me, over to the Curtis Candy channel. Metalhead Mur. Don't know if you remember me, but I was always watching in math class and still watching in math class. Nice, Mur. Nice. Yeah, it's always listen, schmath. How often are you gonna need math? You can and just think about it. How often are you gonna need all the deep and very important little tidbits of information you pick up here with a fat old bald man? Hey Dylan, glad to have you on the crew. He's part of the Size Doesn't Matter crew, our channel members. That's another thing too. It doesn't look like it's going to come to that. Those polls I have going for which I forgot to put this in the description or on the posts for which show we're going to watch next. If any of them came out tied, which we've had things like that happen before, I was going to go to the Size Doesn't Matter crew. They will get to be the tiebreakers. Building a PC, nice. That's fun. I enjoy that. IHC says, have you ever seen a big spider, a really big one? Like Australia big? No, not Australia big. I've seen some sizable spiders, excuse me, as per what we normally see around here or at that time back up in New York, but not like what I see again in Australia videos. I told you guys, my wife, Australia was on her list of places she had wanted to see someday on her bucket list of places she wanted to go. And it has been removed just because I showed her pictures and videos of the spider fields and stuff like that over there. She absolutely won't even go there. That's how terrified she is of spiders. How are the Brazilian elections going, Cato? Looks like we're making Italy surprised me with the strong move to the right they made. It's starting to seem like there's more and more right-leaning sentiment throughout the world. I believe we're going to see that reflected here in just about a month now in our midterm elections here. I think Republicans at least keep the Senate at 50-50, possibly go 51-49 to their advantage, and I think they easily win the House. Hi, Spaz Dev. I did see Dream's face reveal, Joe. Somebody had just posted the clip of him of the actual reveal on social media. I did see that. Yeah, that was kind of cool. Cato says, I thought the Republicans would sweep the elections this year, but Roe v. Wade might change things. It absolutely had a huge effect on things. Huge effect on things. No question about it. I think, and because I'm a nerd for stats and numbers, you guys know that. So I watch polls all the time. After Roe v. Wade, the Democrats made a really strong run, and now the Republicans over the last probably 3 weeks have started pushing back again, but they aren't back to the lead they once had. But the thing is that when you see those statistics, or when you see those polls about the congressional generic polls that are basically, how many of you are going to vote Republican, how many of you are going to vote Democrat, those don't really matter. because it's the individual races that are going to determine everything. You have the Senate races in, I won't be able to name them all, North Carolina here, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona. They say New Hampshire, but I can't see New Hampshire going Republican. Those are all that matter, those individual ones. Wolverine says, check my next post. Alrighty. I saw something about that, Dylan. I may be watching that shortly, that Naruto versus Sasuke new animation. Yeah, everybody's saying it's really, really cool. HD says, politics are going nuts here in Europa, too. Italy is a prime example with Maloney. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, HD. That was surprising to me. Again, I don't stay as up on international politics as I definitely should, but that surprised the hell out of me. Cato says, Sweden, Italy moving to the right has a lot to do with the open border policies pursued by countries like Germany. That's what I'm reading, Cato. That's what I'm reading. That people are really getting disgusted about what has happened, I guess, to their homes, their neighborhoods and stuff due to the open immigration policies. Wolverine says, just to offend the people who want religion to influence politics, hashtag make abortions mandatory. Again, only wanting to offend the overly religious. I don't look to offend anybody. If something I say is offensive to someone, I don't care, but I don't look to offend anyone. I am, as you guys know, I am pro-choice, but unfortunately, on both sides of every political issue, the way that a lot of people represent themselves on the issue, I don't want to align with any of them. I was surprised. I was very surprised that the Supreme Court did overturn Roe v. Wade. I'm not even saying that initially it might have been better to leave abortion up to the states. I'm all for that. I like policy to be made at more local levels and federal levels whenever possible. But that said, seeing as how it was already the law of the land for so many years, and it's certainly not a slam dunk legally, I was surprised to see them overturn it. I really was. Reginald says we should allow post-birth abortions up to 5 years. Add an extra 15 trimesters in there. Monica says, why did Americans choose Biden to be president? He has dementia. Well, for my way of thinking, Monica, and I follow these things pretty closely, it's a simple explanation. The reason Biden won the presidency is because he's not Trump. That was an anti-Trump vote far more than a pro-Biden vote. Biden doesn't seem to inspire a lot of enthusiasm in much of anybody. For the most part, even on the left from the Democrats, but he wasn't Trump. That's why he won. Yeah, I'm in the middle too, Raditz. Lately I've leaned right more, and that's simply because I don't like where the extreme left is going, and I feel they have too much influence on the Democratic Party. But I have a lot of views that go back and forth. That's why I consider myself center, because I don't align down the line with either of them. Cato says most Americans believe that abortion should be restricted to the first trimester. Yep. A lot of pro-choice people have been going too far, though. I see many of them refer to the baby as a parasite. Yeah, that's well, the thing I've always said, I had an argument with some people about this. Again, I'm pro-choice, but I don't understand their need to diminish or spin what exactly happens in an abortion. You snuff out a life. And I believe the woman should have the right to do that. But why do they feel the need to sanitize it? Oh, it's just a clump of cells. Huh. It's nothing. Yeah, like you say, it's just a parasite. Yeah, just get rid of it. Well, no, because if once that egg is fertilized, left to normal means, that's going to become a human being. So you snuffed out a life. And again, I'm pro-choice. I think the woman should have that right to choose if she wants to do it. But Why the need to sanitize to make yourself feel better about it? Just call it what it is. Jill says, avoiding nuclear war is the single most important agenda in the world. Yeah. The single most important agenda in history is more important than your political faction, right? And everything is so dependent right now, or potentially dependent, on what exactly Putin's mental state is. Things are certainly not going well in his war. Not well at all. And from what we can gather, Evgeny was in here the other day, and is one of our regulars here, and he's in Russia, and he gave us some insight. But it certainly seems that there is not a lot of enthusiasm from the general population in fulfilling his 300,000 extra troops he's calling up. And you can pretty much feel confident in saying there's not a lot of enthusiasm for that in the lines that are miles and miles and miles long trying to get the fuck out of Russia. Garen says, Sweden and Finland are kind of close to joining NATO. Sounds like it. There's only 2 countries that need to ratify. Hungary with a pro-Russian and anti-sanction government, and Turkey, which was previously against. Yeah, it does seem like it, Garen. I mean, they're not, I don't see any way. Ukraine made that appeal to be granted, that expedited appeal to be granted UN membership. I can't see that happening. I would be surprised, because the UN knows if Ukraine becomes a member, that basically obligates them to become more involved in the war with Russia. Jill says, people who think nuclear brinkmanship is worth the risk either haven't thought hard enough about what nuclear war is and what it would mean, or they just hate life. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to win. Obviously, nobody wins. Nobody. And genuinely, people, we have no idea of exactly what things will look like after a nuclear war, because we don't know. We know what, for the most part, what type of offense the individual nations have when it comes to nuclear war. We don't know defenses. We know that, I think we can feel pretty confident that America has been setting up nuclear defenses for decades now that are secret, that are not known to the general public, and you would assume other countries have as well. Millie Joe says, can the U.S. nuke Texas? Texas is way too big. Excuse me. Hey, Chrome, you're in Hollywood Studios? Chrome's obviously down in Disney World. Great park, Chrome. Great park. Oh, I love Hollywood Studios. I love all the parks down there. If you get a chance, Chrome, make sure and go into Toy Story Mania. That's a blast. And being an avid gamer and stuff like the rest of us, you'll if you haven't done it before, you'll enjoy that a lot. Rick says, tropical stream? Yeah, sure. I love Hawaii. Reddit says, hey, Curtis, if I may ask, how's Notre Dame's football season so far? For me being a Virginia Tech fan, it's not going so well being that Tech lost to UNC. Yeah, North Carolina is pretty good, Reddit. North Carolina is pretty good. Notre Dame season has been a disappointment so far. It's a mixed bag because I follow it really close. We're 2-2 with a really bad loss to Marshall. The loss to Ohio State was understandable, but the loss to Marshall was terrible. However, the last couple games have been a significant improvement, and they are reason for optimism for the rest of the season. We'll find out more this weekend because they play BYU, a ranked team. If they can't handle BYU, then things haven't moved as much as they have, but they handled North Carolina pretty handily. Notre Dame didn't have a lot of trouble with them. The game play wasn't even as close as the score, because Notre Dame the running back fumbled at the goal line as he was going in to put in that last touchdown, and then they played that prevent defense that just let UNC get another score. It was pretty much out of hand. They dominated them, and again, North Carolina is a good team. Master says, Curtis, do you think the world would end soon because of what's happening? Do I think it's going to? At this point, no. Do I think it's a possibility? Of course. Or the world ending as far as the world that we know ending, the world as we know it. No, I don't think we're right on the brink, but I think we are closer to something of that nature happening than we have been since the Cold War. The Browns will always find a way to blow it, Jeff. That's one thing we've learned over the last few years. Lemon Collie says your hair is pretty. Well, thank you. Chrome says, I went on Rise of the Resistance. Took an hour and a half. It was meant to be 45 minutes, but it broke down or something. Yeah, they have. Well, as you saw, Chrome, it's pretty magnificent. So they do have a lot of breakdowns with Rise just because there's so many moving parts. But yes, that's a phenomenal ride. I encourage everybody to see that at least once. You have to try that at least one time if you go to Disney. Let's see. Negativity says, I don't think nuke use is likely. Then again, Jim Cramer predicted nukes wouldn't be used, and given he's wrong on everything, we might be fucked. Yeah, I mean, you would certainly hope that at some point, you would hope the powers that be all realize they don't win. Nobody wins. I mean, whether it's Putin, whoever. I mean, Putin uses nukes. Well, he's out of power. I mean, because there's no one to rule over if he even survives. So I don't know what the gain is. Chrome says, also bought a lightsaber, $200. Oh, so you bought the one where you go into the shop and make it, right? Spaz Kid did that when they first came out with it. That was cool as hell. I forgot what they call it, but down in at Disney World in Hollywood Studios, you can go in and they create your own lightsaber. They have all the parts there and everything, and it's a whole little production how they do it. Yeah, it's cool as hell. Master Bader says that it's just that every first world country has a nuclear weapon, and all it will take for one country to create a chain reaction. Well, that's true. That's why things are as tenuous as they are. Yeah, because there's a lot of different ways this could take off and go very badly. Reddit says, oh, and worst of all is that the loss to UNC 41-10 was on October 1st, my birthday. Oh, that sucks. That's a shitty birthday present. This year's birthday for me was okay. Last year for my birthday, I got COVID, so. On my 60th, the vid came to visit. Oh, and that Darth Vader's lightsaber. Okay, gotcha, Chrome. Gotcha. Yeah, that's the... so easy to go through money at Disney. There's so many cool things. Jill says, I'm convinced that mainstream culture's fascination with World War II has made us all dumber. Everyone just lives in this dopey children's cartoon now where every U.S. enemy is Hitler. Yeah, I think so to a degree. But again, I mean, there is legitimate reason, certainly, for concern about the potential of a World War III now. As I said, I believe it's more of a real legitimate concern now than at any time since the Cold War. J Money says there have been reports in the past of Putin losing his mind to a certain degree. Could it be that he simply just wants to watch everything burn so he wouldn't care about nukes? Well, that's what you fear. That when one man can have that much power, you worry that, well, we see it with Biden. As you get older, sometimes the mind doesn't work like it used to. And you worry that he will just stop giving a shit, basically. Yeah, it's a concern. We're just talking about that, the Road to Naruto CDV that was released today. Yeah, if I watch it or when I watch it, I'll probably do a reaction to it, so I haven't watched it yet. Crone says, I've spent about 350-ish total over 2 days. I'll slow down soonish. Probably. Oh, I know, Chrome. It's easy. It's easy to go through the money when you're there. Yoo. Negativity says, everyone who disagrees with America is Hitler. Well, actually, negativity, if you think about it, it's more Americans calling other Americans Hitler than it is international. You have a lot of people in this country who believe that anyone who disagrees with them has to be Hitler. You have to be a fascist. You have to be, you have to be the second coming of Hitler because you don't see things the way that they do. Laid Back Sage says, what would you have, a leader like Putin or the senile sloppy Joe? Well, I mean, certainly not looking for a leader like Putin. I certainly am not thrilled about having a leader like Joe either. And again, that's not something I've told you guys before. I've followed politics my whole adult life. I take no pride in fully believing that the president of the United States is mentally impaired, but it is what it is. I have personally witnessed two people who are close to me going through dementia, and man, what I see from him is exactly what I saw from them. Millie Joe says, reminds me of Family Guy. I heard about this Hitler. Someone has to do something. Yeah. Yeah. Clazette says, hey, I know this is off, but I loved your Filthy Frank reaction videos. Hoping things go well to you and your fam. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Good old Papa Franco. Those were some really, really fun days. That was fun. I just posted, I don't know if you guys saw it yet. I just posted a reaction to the TV show, the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared TV show. I was very pleased in that they have held true to to what the original Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared had created. It was creepy, awesomely creepy. Laid Back Sage says, Biden is the only person I've ever regretted voting for. I think there's a lot of that type of regret, Sage, in the country, just because, again, a lot of people's votes were anti-Trump votes. And even though I voted for Trump, I completely understand that. I can 100% understand why someone would not be willing to vote for Trump. I told you guys before, being a native New Yorker, Trump has been front and center in the news to us and as a face to us for 30, 40 years. I've never liked the guy. Never liked him. Always thought he was a douchebag. Only voted for him because I vote for my president based on policies, not personalities. And he aligns more closely with what I believe. But I'm hoping like hell that he is not the candidate in 2024. B. Green says, I was wondering why there was so much Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared recently on my timeline. So they have a TV show now. Yeah, it's in Britain. It's an English TV show, Big Green. I was hoping that I cut it up, to put it on YouTube. And it's gone through. They took the monetization, which I'm fine with, but it's gone through so you guys can see it. And then I put the full uncut version up on at the Goosh. It's pretty cool. And Reginald says, take me to Putin. I can change him. Master Bader says, but Curtis, since Putin is close to his deathbed, he might try to take everyone with him, especially since he is apparently on steroids for one of his sicknesses. Yeah, I mean, we don't know for a fact, but yeah, there's a lot of strong rumors about him being quite ill. You don't know, there's no possible way to tell what's going through his head. And you don't know if he gave the command. I mean, he can't launch the nukes by himself. If he gave that command, is there anybody within that upper chain of command that would say, oh, okay, now you've overstepped and we're not doing that? You just don't know. Reddit says, my favorite videos by you, Curtis, were the Naruto Abridged, the chatbots, and the Filthy Frank reactions. Yeah, those were all good times. All good times. Jill says it looks like they're steering straight for WW3. It's getting so close now it almost appears unavoidable. There will be food shortages and energy shortages, but plenty of weapons. I don't know that it's unavoidable. Obviously, a lot of it's going to be all determined by how everything in Russia plays out. You just don't know how much pushback there may be against Putin. You got to just, again, judging from the lines that are miles and miles long of people trying to escape Russia, you got to figure that this whole calling up of 300,000 more troops is not particularly overwhelmingly popular. But is that enough to get people to actually push back? I guess we're going to find out. Josh says, quote, stop ruining Yu-Gi-Oh, Curtis. Yugi Muto Igota's episode 62 deleted scene. Donald says, my mom says Putin's just angry because he got all them female Russian agents and no toothbrush. Yes. King TBK says we just need Naruto at a time like this to talk no jutsu Putin. Yeah. I mean, by the end of Shippuden, Naruto's talk no jutsu was it was pretty solid. Pretty damn solid. Yeah. I think we could send him in. Hell, how many times did Rodman go to North Korea? Well, that didn't work out that well, but Naruto's smarter than Rodman, so Skydormer says, I think WW3 should be fought by putting the leaders involved in a bouncy castle, give them inflatable hammers and let them tire themselves out. Leave the rest of it. Leave the rest of us out of it. Yeah. Yeah. If only we could come up with a solution along those lines. Daniel says, hey, Curtis, by when do you find out about your comedy show audition acceptance? Oh, Daniel, I had posted a video about it the other day. I'm going to be in the first round of the competition on Wednesday. Wednesday night, I go and perform. Masturbator says, hey, Curtis, do you think guns should be banned? No. I personally think machine guns such as assault rifles should be, because why would you need an assault rifle for self-defense, clearly for murder? Well, you're kind of on both sides of the fence there, Masturbator. Machine guns are banned. Machine guns are fully automatic weapons, and, well, not officially banned. There's so much paperwork and so many hoops you'd have to jump through to get some. It's basically virtually impossible to own a fully automatic weapon. Everything sold commercially is semi-automatic. So I can't really answer, because that's not exactly what's going on. But do I think they should be banned? Absolutely not. Because we have, for whatever reason, we have a very violent sector of our society, and it's not going to go away by getting rid of the guns. You will never, ever have a problem getting guns, and because the criminal element in this country is so dependent on them, and it is their way of committing their criminal acts, all you'll be doing is allowing more people to be victimized. I mean, you can 3D print guns now. Not to mention, there are 400 million guns in circulation. You'd never get rid of all of them. And guns that could come across the border from Mexico be a piece of cake. So, no, I don't believe you should ban guns. Negativity says, I personally believe in recreational nukes. Yeah, just for shits and gigs. Oh, let's grab Arby's. Normally, Daniel, I would be like, yes, let's get some Arby's. But my wife made a pot of sauce it's got to simmer overnight. Made a pot of sauce last night for us to have today. So today for dinner, I'm getting spaghetti and meatballs and sausage and pork. And oh, yeah, it's going to be good. Let's see. Small pistols such as 9mm pistols I'm fine with for self-defense. Yeah, that's what a 9mm is, just a semi-automatic weapon. See, a lot of people want to eliminate certain weapons that, more because of the way they look, like the ARs. There are hunting rifles with wooden stocks, not the bird from Peanuts, that can do the exact same thing. But the AR is the choice because of, apparently, of the way they look, and that's also why they become, for lack of a better term, the target. But yeah, I no, I don't believe in banning guns. I don't think you can in America. The society, both the criminal element and in the general population, are too much in tune with guns. Because we're a younger country, this country has only known guns as self-defense. We fought our wars. We fought our war for independence with guns. You know, when you get over to Europe, that was not how you guys came to be. I mean, your history goes back to where you were fighting with swords or in some cases pointed sticks. Because, you know, just saying your history is so much longer than ours. That's all America's known. It's always been protect yourself with a gun. Yeah, it's too intertwined with our culture. It's true, Daniel. It's true. And I believe that's why. J Money says, even if you ban guns and were somehow successful in doing so, you'd have people finding other ways to hurt each other. Banning guns isn't the answer. Well, even more than that, yes, you'll always have people finding other ways to hurt each other. You would never have if you were a criminal and guns were banned, you're not going to have any trouble finding a gun. Again, it's the same thing as saying, well, cocaine is banned. If you really want to snort coke, do you have any trouble finding it? Nobody would. Same with guns. There will always be if you ban them, there will be a very robust black market, and the problem is the bad guys will have them, and everybody else will be at their mercy. Chrome says, forgot to mention I got a Star Wars Coke bottle as well. I'll be in and out of the stream. Oh, did you, Chrome? Are you talking about the ones in Star Wars Land in Hollywood Studios? They sell the Coke products, Coke, Sprite, and I think one other flavor. They come in a little round bottle that looks like a hand grenade almost. I don't know if that's the one you mean or not, but those are cool. Millie Joel says, as much as I would like a ban, the pro-gun people will cause a civil war over it. See, I wouldn't like a ban. I don't think a ban will benefit in the way people hope it will anyway. And yes, I do think there would be violence over it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there would absolutely be violence in the streets. And they would feel justified in doing so because they would feel like it's not, because the response to that, people always say, well, if you're law-abiding and the law says you can't have a gun, you're not law-abiding. Then if you fight it, that's not true, because every American has a right to stand up against anything that is unconstitutional, and that's what they would base it on, that their constitutional rights are being taken from them. Yes, the little round ones that look like hand grenades. Those are cool, Chrome. We've got a few of them. I kept them from when we went down there. We have a Coke, a Sprite, and I think one other. Yeah, those are cool. I like those. They have a lot. There's just so many cool little different ideas, little different things you can pick up throughout Disney World. It's love it there. Masturbator says, the problem is the bullet is the most important thing here, Curtis. 9mm bullets are relatively small and can be survived from long range, while an assault rifle rounds can kill someone from a long range. Right, but that's what I'm saying, Masturbator. ARs are not the only ones that can have that type of velocity. They just simply aren't. There are hunting rifles that are the exact same thing. And you can load your bullets however you want. Like, for instance, when I used to have my handgun, when I lived in New Mexico, I was on the police department, we could only carry up to a 38 cal. So we just had guys on the force who would load the bullets for us, and it would be stronger than a 357. There's ways around everything. The simple fact is, no matter, again, how many different ways it's broken down, what really frustrates me about it is every time there is a mass shooting or something, you hear no conversations. There's no national debate on why people want to do that. What is it that are making kids want to kill a bunch of other kids? It's always about what did they use to do it. And until we somehow get ahead of why so many people are so violent here in this country, it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to stop it. And to say that, well, You shouldn't be able to have, it's like anything else. I'm not a believer in somebody else should be punished for the deeds of the bad guy. When there are millions and millions of a certain type of gun, rifle, whatever, out there, and one person decides to use it, or 10 people decide to use it for nefarious means, I'm still not ever going to be a supporter of saying, well, nobody else should have that then either. But like I say, to me, I don't understand why there isn't more conversation about why. Why is there so much violence in this country? Especially when you go back to it, and I think this is a lot of why I hold the beliefs that I do. I've told you guys before, when I went to school, guns were everywhere. I went to a school out in the country. Pretty much every pickup truck in the yard, all the upperclassmen, always had a gun rack in the back with guns in it, loaded, unlocked in the cars. Kids would bring guns right into the school. Like I can remember somebody would get a cool hunting rifle or something for their birthday, for Christmas or something. Well, they'd want to bring it in and show everybody. They'd bring it in, show everybody, put it in their locker. Nobody blinked. Nobody thought twice about it because a gun was a tool like anything else. Yeah, it was potentially harmful, but everybody knew how to handle it. You respected it. And certainly nobody was turning it on each other. So what happened? Why now? That's the bigger question. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Jill says, Elon is afraid he does not escape to Mars before nuclear war. Now he has a coal mine in pants instead of daddy's diamond mine. Yeah, Elon, if anyone survives the nuclear holocaust, it'll probably be Elon, Jill. He'll find a way. Shark Dentures said, we need common sense holy hand grenade control. The holy hand grenade, the count shall be, then proceed to, what is it? Proceed to 3. I've forgotten all the details of that scene now. Masturbator says, because bullying isn't taken seriously, not just in the U.S., but in every country, and if you fight back, you'll get detention, so kids have to resort to other means. It's sad, but school system is shit. Yeah, I mean, bullying is taken much more seriously now than it was in my day, but that's not saying anything because in my day, it wasn't addressed at all. It was just, if you don't like it, fight back. And it's like, well, I don't, if somebody, for me, that was okay. But for kids that don't want to be fighters, that wasn't quality advice. But at least now they do make an attempt. But I think that has part of it. I think the frequency with which children are prescribed mind-altering drugs has a lot to do with it. And I do think a lot of it, too, has to do with a general breakdown in a family dynamic. You have a lot of kids that don't have any decent direction at home, and I think that hurts. Excuse me, guys. Oh. Jill says, that will lead to several more years of grinding war, all the while the odds of nuclear war inch ever higher. Ukraine controlling the crimes isn't that important. Again, the Russia-Ukraine thing, there are just so many different ways this could all flesh out, and a lot of them just aren't very good, but we just don't know. I mean, anything is a guess. Who knows what's honestly, two major factors. Who knows honestly what's going on in Putin's mind, and who knows honestly what is going on in the minds of those who are that level right below Putin. Because that's what's going to tell the tale. Solaris says, I'm so concerned about the possibility of nuclear war, but I also think that if Putin ever goes for it, everyone important will believe that Putin has gone too far and his death is the only solution. Well, that's what we hope for, Solaris. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. You don't know. Again, Putin can't actually flip the switch by himself. So it does have to go through others. Other people have to be involved as well. And you would hope that that's where it all falls apart for him, but who knows? Skydormer says maybe someone should put SCP-999 in Putin's office. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Masturbator says, not to mention how funny it is to commit crimes except a murder. If you are 17, but the moment you hit 18 is wrong, and you get jail time, which teaches kids they can get away with anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's such a departure, and I've said it before. We were just talking about it. Just the whole attitude is so different. I mean, when I went to school, there was a lot more bullying. Bullying was it's just part of it. Oh, toughen you up. That's the way they looked at bullying. And now we're better about dealing with that. And yet somehow the level of violence in schools has just increased exponentially. Like I said, I'm not making this up. Anybody from my generation who lived in a rural setting like I did will back me up on it. Again, guns were everywhere. Nobody ever thought it, because and we had fights. You had kids that didn't get along. You had kids that got bullied. But nobody went the route of grabbing a gun and shooting a bunch of other kids. You found other ways to deal with it. And something has changed there. And if we could put our finger on what it was and correct that, that would be much more effective than any type of gun legislation. St. Christoph says, I'm just so surprised by how incredibly inept the Russian army is. Talk about a paper tiger. I think, I know I was too, St. Christoph. I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's actually my sister's boyfriend. And I've told you about this man before. He was a sniper in the military, and on the fringes of the military, kind of as well. If you understand what I'm saying, he was a special ops, very special ops, legit. Not somebody telling stories about their escapades. So I asked him about it because he still stays on top of all that stuff, and he says no. He said that's been the way for some time, that the Russians just don't put the money or have the money to put into their military. And for some time, he said, without the world really being aware of it, it was just a numbers game. We've got this many people and we've got nukes. But they didn't expect to encounter the intense resistance they did from Ukraine. They never expected that weakness was going to be exposed, and here it was. Hey, Kyle. Alex says, the first thing the KKK wanted when the slaves were freed was for black people to not be able to own a gun. True. Now that most black people are armed, nobody fucks with them. Yeah, and that's the thing too. If you're pro Second Amendment, which I am, you can't see colors with that. I think everybody should have the right to arm themselves and defend themselves. But yes, the KKK didn't like that much at all. but we really don't give a shit about what the KKK would ever like. Cosette says this Putin issue reeks the Cold War all over again. Unfortunately, yeah, very very similar feel. Very similar feel. Jill says, if America's primary interest really is in avoiding a nuclear war with Russia, appeasement wouldn't even be an option. Well, again, Jill, it's who knows what the best options are. That's the conundrum. That's the issue with it. Shark Toucher says, very special ops that rides the short bus. No. Yeah, well, I won't go. I won't go into details, but he knows his military stuff very, very well. Now he's a nationally ranked competitive shooter. Negativity says, I think that unfortunately, the age of the internet has made it possible for people who have radical ideas to form communities. That's true. Removing geographical boundaries eases communication for good and bad. Yeah, you're 100% right, negativity. Yeah. Well, and there's no question that, and we've all seen this, I have never in my life seen as much vitriol or as much us versus them mentality in the U.S. as there is right now. I mean, with our citizens facing off against one another. And there may be a number of reasons for that, but by far and away, the biggest reason, the reason that holds the most weight by a substantial amount is social media. Because now it has become, you don't live just within your own community. The whole country is the community together, and people can get together in their little echo chambers and talk about how bad the other side is for not agreeing with them and whip themselves into a frenzy, and that's what we get. Big Green says, I don't even like the KKK's costumes. Dressing up as ghosts on Halloween is so boring. Right. Have a little imagination, I know. Yes, because that says, remember when the Checkpoint Charlie standoff was a thing back then? Yes, I do. Bader says, okay, Curtis, the most important question here. Who's your favorite, Family Guy, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, or Futurama? Well, I know Family Guy much better than the others. So it's not really a fair question. It'd be Family Guy, but who knows if I get the same level of knowledge of the others. Might be different. Reginald says, Curtis, did you move out of New York because every movie says that if a war or alien invasion thing happens, it always happens in New York first? Well, that would be a small detail, but yes, the amount of money they rip from you every year is a lot of it too. Oh, the taxes in New York are so outrageous, so ridiculous. King TBK says, can you explain something that always confused me? How do these scientists make high-tech gadgets you see in movies that defy time but can't make a defense that stops nukes instantly? Be nice if they... And see, that's a big question too, King TBK. We really don't know, at least here in America, we really don't know what our nuclear deterrent ability, as far as a physical deterrent, is. Because that's not the kind of technology you would ever talk about or let anyone in the world know about. Excuse me. That's why I've always said, people complain about all the time about our military budget being too high, and it would be nice to be all spend less on the military. But what I've always said is, we don't know where a lot of that money goes by design, nor should we know where a lot of that money goes. And we can only hope that when push comes to shove, if Putin's brain breaks or whatever, and he decides, screw it, I don't care if I die, and does whatever he needs to do, that's where we hope that all that money over these years has been spent on something that none of us know about, but might allow us to survive. Because I believe a lot of the military budget goes directly into tech, high tech, and a lot of that would be in the defense department, in pursuit of defense. Negativity says it's like that toaster joke. 20 years ago, if you like to stick your dick into the toaster, you'd just be called a dumbass. Now you can go on the internet and find a community of toaster fuckers. That's a good way to putting it. And that certainly falls into the sad but so true category too. You're not wrong. Not wrong at all. Dylan says, will you ever continue One Piece anime? We're up to episode 1000, and we're picking back up on after 1000. We're picking up from 1000 very shortly. Excuse me, hold on, guys. It's kid. Hello. Hey, pal. What's up?
So I think I have finally found a car I'm really interested in anyways.
Okay.
It is a 2020 Nissan Sentra.
Oh, good cars.
Yeah. It's 2020, so pretty recent there. It has 50K miles on it.
Oh, that's not much. Yeah, those go for 200,000 easy. I'm streaming right now. Spaz Kids looking for a new car. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, they go for 200,000 miles easily.
Price for that is around like 24.
Yeah, that's a reasonable deal.
I thought so. I liked it because it was more recent. Not too many miles on it. Bonus
Oh, cool.
it's four brand new tires, so I don't have anything to worry about there.
Right. Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all.
I kind of got upset because there was a 2019 one on there.
Right.
So it was 2019, same kind, all the same crap that came with this one, except it was 20,000, and it actually had less mileage on it. It had 40,000 on it,
Oh,
and it
wow.
sold that
Oh,
morning.
of course it did. Yeah. Well, especially with the way used cars are going right now. Yeah, you can't wait. When you find something you want, you got to jump right on it.
I So as soon as I get a lull at work, I'm gonna try and get qualified for it, and
Do it. Yeah.
um, put it down. Said she will help with the down payment for it and everything. So
Cool.
we get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you say, can't waste any time because they go fast.
Plus, almost hit me because I can't turn. Um, yeah, but it's a pretty nice, like a lot of luxuries too. It's one of them fancy cars that press in like a button versus a key. So I
Yep.
like
Yep. No key. Yeah.
Um, they also have adaptive cruise control on it, so it actually matches the speed of the car in front of you,
Right. Yep.
which I thought was pretty neat.
That is cool. It's hard to get used to, but it is pretty cool.
Um, and I talked with a coworker because I never owned a Nissan, or obviously had driven them before, but they said that Nissans are really good and they
Hmm.
enjoy them.
Yep. They're one of the highest rated for safety and longevity.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that bit about it. So
Yep. Yep.
I think I'm gonna try and get pre-applied,
Approved.
approved. There it is. Gonna try and get pre-approved. I think they said it's gonna be anywhere from 6 to 10% APR
Okay.
on it.
Okay.
My down payment would probably be around 8K or so.
Oh, that'll be real good then. That'll help you a lot. Yeah, that'll help a lot. And the gang's all saying hi to you here.
Oh, hello everybody.
He says, "Hello, everybody." No, that's a good one. I would definitely recommend seeing what you can do with that.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ones you've described to me.
Tell everyone in chat unless they want me to buy a Tesla, just shout out my Cash App real quick.
Spaz Kid would like to buy a Tesla. He wanted to know if you guys want me to just shout out his Cash App so he could buy it for him.
All I need is like 40 grand.
40, 50 grand should be plenty, he said.
Yeah. That's like a million easy. But yeah, I'll get. Because how does that work? Do I have to do a down payment to secure the car, or do I just need to get pre-qualified and then they'll lock it down, or what? What's it
well,
like?
well, yeah, they should, if you're getting pre-qualified, they should, they don't have to. They should hold it for you until that goes through unless somebody else is already in the process.
Got ya. Yeah, and it was the one that we're looking at was just posted like I think 2 3 hours ago. So it's not like a lot of people could have seen it already.
Right. Yeah, well, like you say, as soon as you get a chance, get everything going on it, and they should at least hold it for you till then. Yes.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. Oh, and I forgot one of the best features about it. It's a blue car,
Oh, nice.
and I like the color on it as well. It's like, all right, that's a little bonus. I
Yep.
don't know if that's gonna drive up insurance or not, but hey, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's but again, it shouldn't drive up the insurance as much because it is such a safe car too, because that counts in your insurance payment as well.
Yep. Yep.
So
All righty. Well, once I get some downtime, like I said, I'll start doing the process for it,
Cool. All right. Well, keep me posted on how you do with it, pal.
All right.
All right, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk to you later.
Okay, pal. Bye. Yeah, I bought him when he was still in college. He was freshman or sophomore. I bought him a 2012 Ford Focus, and I got to admit, we can't complain. He got his money's worth out of that vehicle. But now it's getting old. It's getting beat, and he can still get a decent amount of trade value for it in this current market. So he's trying to get something a little bit newer to, especially now that he's working. He's got to have his transportation. BTG says, "What if the toaster has anime eyes drawn on it?" All right. I admit it. That does change everything. Oh, excuse me. Shark Dentist says my family drives our cars into the ground. I always did when I was young. Well, I had to when you were younger. You know, you couldn't afford another vehicle, and even now, I'm not. I'm not the type. I'm not a gearhead. So I've got a 2019 Chevy Trax. As long as it takes me back and forth to where I need to go, that's all I care. I'm not a. That's not a big deal to me. The only thing Spaz Kid has always been fascinated by Teslas, and that's his goal, is to someday get a Tesla. Negativity says Spaz Kid is such a giga chat. He makes a profit reselling his used car. Well, I paid. I think I paid $5,500 for it, and that would have been in. Oh gosh, trying to think what year he was in school. Probably. So that was over 3 years ago. I paid $5,500 for it, and he looked it up on CarMax. They offered him $3,400, and it's like I say, we've done nothing but put normal maintenance into it, and he's driven the hell out of it for well over 3 years, so we can't complain. Shark Dentist says, I would let the aliens get a foothold if they attacked New York City first. Also, Lex Luthor from Superman 78 did nothing wrong. Just saying, oh, I remember Superman 78 well. I watched that one at the drive-in theater. Yeah, because I went there with my girlfriend at the time, and of course it was a drive-in, so you missed part of it. But I saw most of the good parts of the movie. Because that says the anime toaster is giving me Weeaboo Jones vibes. BTG says if you get a Tesla, you need to find a way to fit a lightning orb to the hood. Oh, BTG, he is so. I mean, he's been fascinated by them forever, and he's not a gearhead either. He just likes the Tesla vehicles. So I'm rooting for him to be able to get to where he can get himself a Tesla at some point. They're a little out of his price range right now. Yeah, he had the car for over 3 years, like I say, and ran it and never any issues. Denture says my dream car is one that works. Yeah, I've been there too. I've been there too. All right, guys. Well, I gotta head out. This was a fun stream. It was fun. We haven't had a topical chat in quite some time. Now, I don't know what the stream schedule will be this week. I'm going to stream as often as I can, obviously. But I'm not sure exactly what the stream schedule will be, but I will be back here streaming as often as I can. Probably not on Wednesday because, again, I got that show Wednesday night. So I'll be getting all my video stuff done, and I'll try and catch like a quick hour nap or something because I'm up at 5:30 every day. And I'll be out late doing stand-up that night. But definitely we'll be back with more streams. Thank you guys for all the good conversation, for hanging out with me. And if you get a chance, go check out that Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. That was some pretty creepy shit. All right, I'll talk to you guys really soon.